Hey, it's Glendon, and it's Mental Mondays. This one's a little different, but it's just as important as the other ones. Ha ha, ha ha, the importance of fun and laughter. I know, right? It's a little different, but one of the things that comes my way frequently is, hey, Glendon, you always seem to be so happy. How do you keep yourself up? In this Mental Monday, I'm going to give you some of my tricks, tips, and techniques that I do to keep my mental happiness rolling. This guy is one of my heroes. When I was a child, I used to listen to the records. For some of you who don't even know what records are, the 33 and the third, my mom had all of Richard's albums. But they were more of an observation of the human condition than comedy. The comedy was just like icing on the cake. The observations, that was the deal. That was what was so poignant. And I do remember one time when my mother was gone and I was listening to Richard and he was saying all of those naughty things. I turned it off once he was done. And I remember going outside and I was in an amazing mood. I walked past a neighbor and she said, "And why are you so happy?" I said, "It's a great day." She said, "Yes, it is. Happiness is contagious." And I learned from that you have to work on your states because laughter is a valuable currency. It's an extremely valuable currency. One of the ways to incorporate more fun into your life is to make it a priority. Now, let's talk about fun in a different kind of sense because so many people said, let's go out and have fun. For some people, fun is going out to the bars, drinking, hanging out with your friends. Is it really fun or is it a distraction? There's a fundamental difference between true fun and a distraction, and often people get the two confused. Just a quick way for you to know if something's a distraction or it's fun, look at how you feel once the activity has concluded. If it's a distraction and you immediately go back to blah, 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 there it is. It's a distraction. But if it was fun and you come away energized, feeling better about yourself, with a higher level of enthusiasm and a bit of excitement, now that's fun. We'll get into that a little bit more. Make a point to laugh every day. I don't care if you have to fake it until you make it. Sit in your office, your car, or wherever and have a good chuckle. It's scientifically been proven that laughter will lower your blood pressure. It's a healthy thing to do. Understand that laughter is essential. In this life, we make choices. Whether you make an active choice or a passive choice, it's still a choice. With the passive choice being the most damning. At least if you make an active choice and it goes wrong, at least you have some way to verify, go back, look at it, and see, hey, well, maybe that's not the best way to make decisions. You have experience. Passive choice, you have angst. Some people take smoke breaks. You could take a laughter break. I remember many years ago when I had the job and I was indignant. I was like, all these people are taking their 15-minute smoke breaks and some people would take 4 a day. Do the math. That's 2 hours out of an 8-hour day, huffing and puffing. I would take laughter breaks. And I can only imagine what people are doing now with YouTube, the internet. This was before the internet was as ubiquitous as it is now, and before it was on cell phones. And back then, a halfway decent computer was $1,500 or $3,000, and it couldn't even do what your cell phone does today. So I would just take myself a little break out there, and I didn't smoke, and just, I was an asshole. Just like, they get breaks. I'm getting breaks too, damn it. And I told my boss that, and he just looked at me. It's like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to say because I don't smoke, I shouldn't get the free off time that they're getting? As a result of my pushing those forced smoke breaks were reduced to 2. Can you say people were like, I hate him. I hate him. Took away 30 minutes of my time that I got paid working for this company doing nothing, motherfucker. And that's kind of what one of the old women told me that worked there. And I just looked at that. And that's part of that entitlement mentality. Going forward, I learned to have joy in my life. If you look at the YouTube channel that I have, Glendon Cameron 007, now the American Hustler, there's serious stuff, there's middle of the road stuff, and there's a lot of debauchery. There's a lot of sex, alternative sexual lifestyles, crazy shit that happened to me when I was in the storage auction business, crazier stuff that happened to me when I was selling on Craigslist, and it's all there because it's the totality of my experience. My experience wasn't just serious stuff. It wasn't middle of the road stuff, and it wasn't just comedy. It was a mixture of everything with a very heavy dose of comedy. A lot of comedy. I really have to thank Francine for introducing me to thrifting and garage sales and flea markets, because there are so many comical, wonderful moments from that journey. I have laughs in the bank. It's just like the little Chinese lady, like the customer that wouldn't go away. She's done other shit. I just have to think about her. I start shaking my head and my whole emotional state changes. But you have to understand, you have to make a break for laughter. You have to put it into your life. It has to be a line item on the balance sheet of your life. I'm going to have fun. I want some comedy. That's why I love comedians. One of the things you can do, if you can't get away, go to Pandora.com. Find your favorite comedians. They're on there. Some of the funniest skits will have you rolling. When I'm walking around my neighborhood, sometimes I'll have one of those comedy channels on, and I am cracking up, and people walk by me and they look at me with this bewildered look and they start smiling. They don't know what's going on, but I am cracking up because the stuff is funny. But you have to make it a priority. It has to be important, because it's true. All work and no play does make Jack a dull boy. It's very, very critical to success because it balances you out and it keeps your energy and enthusiasm high. This is a big thing. If you're looking at this and not listening on the podcast, you see that gorilla that is in the midst of these people throwing the basketball. That was a scientific study that they tell you to fixate on the basketball. And when you go back, you actually miss the gorilla walking, pausing, because you were so focused on one thing. That's the power of distraction. But we live in a society where many people think distraction is actually relaxing. It's not. Have you ever gone on a vacation and came back tired, not refreshed, not recharged, not ready to take on the world? Really, you're saying, man, I need 2 or 3 days off before I go back to work to recover from the vacation that I took. That is the distraction epidemic. Because you work all week, you do these things, you put up with people you don't want to work with, you do this crazy stuff, and you feel entitled to go somewhere wonderful and do something. But are you being true to yourself? Is that really what you want to do? Think about it. Now, with the distraction and the relaxing, being a hard-charging entrepreneur will drain your personal battery frequently. So you need not a pause, but you need a restart. Now, relaxing is totally different than distraction. Gave you the definition of how to separate the two, because we live in America, United States of America. Bigger, better, faster. But not a lot of introspection. Some of my friends just don't get it. Some of my Mondays are better than their Christmases because I'm doing what I want to do. Like today, I woke up, I played around, And I said, I'm going to work from 2:30 to 10. I had that option. Relaxing to me is being alone or in the company of a loved one and doing absolutely nothing. No running a million errands. No trying to cram all this crap into the weekend because Monday through Friday you're doing so much. And I learned not to speak of my lifestyle because it's so different from the average person. It's very close to that of a retired person, yet I'm fully engaged in my career. It's because I have the freedom of flexibility of my schedule. Well, with the distraction and relaxation conundrum, you have to relax. You have to dial it down and take your brain to a calm place because your brain never stops working. But if it's always on overtime, it's going to heat up and it's going to just start doing stuff. So learn to hit the pause button. If you want to do a distraction vacation, I'm not saying don't do it. Some of them are going to be fun, but understand what you're doing. I like to do, because one of the things I'm going to do later in life is take the Russian icebreaker up to Antarctica, because that's just a big wonder to me. This ship going up to the top of the world. There's all this ice, and I know for a black guy, using some of those stereotypical things, because I tell my other black friends this and they're like, why the hell you want to go up there? It's cold. You know why I want to go up there? Because I've never been. It's that simple. And I hear there's penguins, and penguins are cool to me. Penguins are fucking cool. And I want to meet a penguin at the top of the world. And it's also part of a goal that I set when I was 17. I've been on 5 continents. And I think that would be number 6 for me. I don't know if I'm going to do 7 because the other one's like, I don't know. But at least I can get that checked off the list because I want to go. And like I said, penguins are cool. Penguins are the shit. And to me, that's just going to be a distraction excursion. But I know what it is. Learn to separate what you're doing. Learn to properly identify your activities. Because you're calling it one thing, but it leaves you depleted like something else. So going back to the original definition, if once the distraction is over and you don't feel any better than you did before it started, it was just a distraction. You didn't relax. You didn't take a break. You didn't chill out. And that stuff's very, very important. And this is coming from a person that halfway did it. And that's how my ass ended up in the hospital with 4 bleeding ulcers. So take it from me. Because I'm taking this serious because I don't want to go back to the hospital. I don't want to do all that stuff. The memories, no. But that's why I try to manage what I do. And I'll just be blunt. Sometimes I'm looking at my email box and it's a 12-hour day. And I'm just like, that will wait till tomorrow. And a lot of people don't like that in a social media world where you're on it and you're answering everything. And it's, to me, humanly impossible to be that on all the time and be highly effective. Honestly, since I have dialed it back, I did this based in the space of research, metrics. I make more money and I'm not working as hard. That's a very interesting statement I just made, now isn't it? Many of the things that you are taught in our society, these narratives, are simply untrue when you peel away the skin and get to the core and you're looking at the fruit and the seeds. And it's just like, this isn't an apple, this is an orange. But I wanted an apple, but I have an orange. But I thought it was an apple, but really it's an orange. You have to learn how to separate your fruit. You have to really think about, is something adding to your stress or does it eliminate your stress? Being off sometimes can be more stressful than being at work. Learn to be still. Learn to take a moment. And this takes practice. 5 to 30 minutes a day where it's just you, your thoughts, no one else, no cell phone, no computer. You're just relaxing. It'll increase your lifespan. and it'll increase your clarity, and it'll increase your peace. And you'll be more effective when you go back to work, because you can frequently get ahead by stepping back. Because if you keep pushing and you don't have a true, clear picture of what you're doing, where you're going, you could actually run by some that you needed to pay attention to because you're moving so fast you missed it. So definitely learn the difference between distraction and relaxing. This is something that I learned from comedy. Going back to me listening to Richard Pryor and the naughty stuff, I learned from me, there's a few things that helped me change state immediately. And music, comedy, and deep drama, like foreign films. Really good drama. It will alter my state. And I will share a secret with you. And many of my friends, writing friends, is like, how the hell can he be so prolific? He keeps putting out this content. When I first joined the writing group, I was the most active member, and I was just putting out stuff. Part of it was life experiences. I had to realize that I am not risk adverse as a lot of my friends. I'm the guy that's like, hey, let's try it. When I went salsa dancing and totally embarrassed myself and that hurts. I mean, my ass was hurting, my hip was hurting. It was a trip. And I went back too, because there were chicks there. But changing your state. If you conduct your goals listening to Baroque music, which is scientifically proven to increase your IQ. A lot of folks don't know that. That's something I learned from Super Learning. By listening to these things, like I used to do this thing called Passionate Friday. And I was such a procrastinator. I would wait, because the thing is, it was supposed to be done, 12 a.m. Friday. And I would sometimes sit around at 10:30. And I didn't know I was teaching myself to write really good stuff under pressure, because it's, oh crap, it's 11:05. And I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. But, and these poems were supposed to be about love and relationships and heartbreak and joy and sex and lust. So I would go get some of that 1960s, 1970s, some 80s, but early 80s to the 60s was a sweet spot. There was so much music that I could put on, and I would put a song on. I remember Marvin Gaye's Distant Lover. I wrote a poem to that song, but I put that song on, and I listened to that song 20 times. The first 5 was like, okay. And around the 6th time, I started to get the juice. The juices started coming up. Lines started coming up because I induced a state. This is something you can do at will. This is the writing secret. This is why I don't get writer's block. Because I sit down and I'm like, there's really nothing there. But I have this mindset of, I'm going to make something happen. I'm not just going to sit here and wait until the muse comes. I'm just like, okay, it's 11:05, dude. We needs to get to cracking. And I'll have you know, I never was late. And then as I matured, I started doing them a day before, or sometimes a week before, and I had stuff in. But those early years, last minute Larry taught me how to induce state. So I would listen to Marvin Gaye's, and I would listen to it, and the lines would come in. And I don't know if any of you are writers, but I'll put down a line, and that may not be the first line. It may not be the second line. It could actually be the end, the middle, because I kind of paint the piece. I'll just like, this will fit here, and this will fit here, because I took commercial art for 4 years. So it's the way that I write is the way that I used to paint and draw. It's the same process, which is why when something comes out, I know it's good, because I may start with the hands, I may start with the eyes. It just all depends. But you can induce state. You can change it immediately by finding your triggers. Mine are music, art, movies, big triggers. So I just take myself, and this is how I'm able to pull up all the storage auction stories, because I'll just go by the storage facility and sit in the parking lot. Oh yeah, that happened, and that happened, and that happened. Oh, and that happened. And I go to another facility. Oh yeah, this is the day Paul Clampett got the fire extinguisher, pulled the thing, and it was like stuff's all snowed up on him. This was at the U-Haul out in Conyers. By going to these places and inducing these states and pulling the trigger, I was able to remember and create. And you can do the same thing. You just have to figure out what are your triggers. Everyone doesn't have the same ones. But I guarantee you, you do the work on yourself and start figuring out what makes you remember, what makes you really happy, what excites you. You can change your state. And the importance of this is you come home and you have a bad day, a really, really bad day. Something crazy happened at work. And there's your wife or your husband, and they had nothing to do with any of that. And there's the kids, and there's the dog, and everyone's looking at you like, what's wrong? And you're in this mood, and the first thing you want to do is retreat. And you want to be apart from them when they want you to be there. So this is what you do. You do retreat, and you say this, look, give me X whatever, and I'll be back. And you go work on yourself and figure out what can change your state. And I'm going to give you a good book recommendation. Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor E. Frankl. This guy was in Auschwitz. He was in one of the concentration camps, and he found peace and purpose in a concentration camp. I can't think of a more arduous, unspeakable, evil situation to endure, yet find personal peace. So it's just to let you know the power of the intellectual capacity of humanity. If you think of purpose, if you create purpose, even when I'm going to consider what he went through as hell. The man was in hell. He watched family members perish. He was in 4 concentration camps from like 1942 to like 1940, about 3.5, 4 years, 4 concentration camps. He saw unspeakable horrors, and he found peace and purpose in that madness. That's why I look to older people who really went through some stuff, because, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of us haven't really went through shit, but we act as if we did. It's about building their perspective. And it's really, really a big thing once you learn how to properly context your perspective and change state. Practice. You just can't take this information I give you and don't do anything with it. You got to put it in practice. So these are some ways to induce and bring more humor in your life, more laughter. Find a long clip of your favorite comedian. They're on YouTube. They're on, like I said, Pandora.com. Watch old situation comedies on television. They're better written than a lot of the crap we have today. They are, because they dealt with a lot of stuff, real issues. Everyone, I do believe, has a friend or a family member who's just a riot. Whenever you're in a bad mood, call them up, because you know they're going to bring the pain. They're going to bring the comedy. They're going to bring the joy. And put it on your calendar. I'm going to laugh this week. I know it sounds really, really crazy. I am going to laugh, because there are some people that don't laugh every week. They don't have joy every week. They just exist. So practice bringing humor, laughter, and fun into your life. And this is going to take some exploration, because my ideal of fun is probably not going to be your ideal of fun. Because another thing that's fun for me, and no one understands it, I was in the furniture business so long, I have a healthy appreciation of furniture. I go to the apparel mart and just walk around the showrooms, take pictures, put them up on Facebook, and trip out, because I love looking at beautiful stuff. And it's just like, and I come out there so relaxed. It's like, yeah, that was cool. And I go to shows, and I don't really tie up the reps because I'm not buying anything. But if they're alone, I'll chat them up. And also, they serve alcohol. Oh, some of the shows are off the chain. So essentially, find out what are your triggers. What induces, I'm telling you, just practice this. You can figure out stuff that will change your state from a bad state to a good state. You just got to figure out what it is. You'll figure out things that can trigger your memory. It's an exploration inside yourself. You need to visit with yourself, sit with yourself, talk with yourself, and really figure this stuff out because it's super important. That way, next time someone cuts you off and you're about to get pissed off and your blood pressure is about to go through the roof, you can focus on something that changes your state, brings you back down. Because the thing is, when you get stressed out, depending upon your personality and your response mechanisms, usually you're not as effective as you can. This isn't true for everyone. There's some people under stress, they're at their best. They've conditioned themselves to be at their best under stress, which is good, but during normal off-peak times, they're just no good. Like you see it in sports all the time. There's like I was watching March Madness, because you're getting good teams playing each other. So there's none of this blowout stuff. It's real good ball. And you see this one team that was about to give it up because they got ahead, got 15-point lead. It was about 4 minutes. And you could tell their body language, they relaxed. As long as they had to dig in that ass, they would bring in the wood. But the minute they relaxed, and almost lost because they lost their intensity. So to me, this is just my opinion. I think it's better to be effective across a broad spectrum of situations. To be effective under stress, to be effective when there's no stress, and to be effective when there's peace, versus only being effective in one of those areas. It's spreading your reach and increasing your personal power, because if you are just situationally effective, it will bite you in the ass. So there it is. This is your Middle Monday. Some things for you to chew on, some things for you to do, some things for you to look at. All right, this is Glendon, and I'll see you on the good side.